Hold up.
Don't talk to the cops. And learn your rights.
Are you guys the pot lawyers?
Yes, we are.
So what do I do if a cop smells pot?
I will use a quote from an Instagram follower who called us undercover marijuana superheroes.
It's very important for us to be out there with the people.
We are the only attorneys out there at these festivals walking with the people and meeting and greeting and educating and medicating with them. So if you do have to deal with those cops, you will remember what we say.
The only ones with the balls to do it.
He'll talk over me.
Hold
When he
up.
says, "Oh, what's that smell?"
I don't want to discuss my day.
There you go. And if
Am I
you're,
being sued?
that's right. You say, "I invoke the fifth."
I invoke the fifth.
You invoke the fifth, and then you shut the fuck up.
I'm Craig, the big brother. I'm Mark, little brother. And we're the Pot Brothers at Law.
Dude, let's get. This will be take one right here.
That's right.
So, welcome to another episode of the American Cholo podcast. I am Gil, the American Cholo. I got the co-host Sonny in the house.
What's up, man? How you
The
guys
sidekick Silent Boob in the house.
That's right.
And today, let me try to put the voice for you know how the movies in the days of COVID 2020, pandemics, police brutality. We have some superheroes in the house. The Pot Brothers at Law. What's going on, fellas?
Sorry about that.
How's it going out there? We're doing well. Thanks for having us.
No, man, it is definitely our pleasure to have you guys come on
it
here and bless our show with your guys' presence. So let's get our audience, even though they probably already know, your guys' story. You guys are actually working attorneys, yes?
Yes, sir.
And are you guys brothers?
And we're brothers. We're actual brothers.
I'll answer the question we get asked a lot. It's like three different things. We're Pot Brothers at Law. So we really are brothers, genetically, same mother, same father. Right. You got the ugly branch.
No, you got the male. You're the milkman.
Was he the milkman or the mailman? We don't know yet. And so we're really brothers. We're both really attorneys. My big brother became an attorney 10 years before me. And as you can see, we both really smoke pot. So Pot Brothers at Law, it's all true.
How did you guys actually get into what you're doing? Did you guys start off as being that type of attorneys, or how did you guys give us a little background on how you guys all started like this?
Well, I started off doing litigation, insurance defense, business litigation, and then so I did that for 10 years. And then when my brother passed the bar, my son, his name is Jay Cures on Instagram, West Coast Cure is the brand. He wanted to start cultivating for patients. This is back in God.
Well, so hold on, you're mixing up years. See, that's what happens when you get old. You forget.
Hey, I just turned 59 yesterday with my birthday. Give me a break. My last year in my 50s.
Happy birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Ah, that's right. Happy birthday, Greg.
Wait. You guys are kind of missing something. Let me ask you something. Did it take you 10 times to pass the bar? Is that why you're 10 years behind him?
Go ahead, big brother.
Yeah, it took him 10 times. No, that's because he's a lot younger than I am. That's why.
All right, okay.
I don't dye my hair.
I do.
So what my big brother was practicing law, I became an attorney in 1996, and in California, that's when Prop 215 was enacted and gave cannabis patients their rights to have that cannabis recommendation and grow for themselves and use and consume. And it was still a felony. So you still get busted, but you had to prove with your doctors and everything else and documentation that you were doing it in accordance with the law. So I came right out, started practicing criminal defense and representing cannabis patients. And so that evolved into when California evolved from Prop 215, patients' rights, nothing to do with business, nothing to do with business. Prop 215 didn't have a vehicle for that. Not until 2008 when Senate Bill 420 came out that then said the Attorney General guidelines interpreted to allow people to have cooperatives and collectives. Before that, you had to be a caregiver and have the proper caregiver license. So my brother's son at some point, so this is probably late 90s, early 2000s, I think, something like that, where he wanted to do this. The vehicle was being a caregiver. So we learned how that was done. He did that. Then he moved into being a collective and cooperative. And so we schooled ourselves on how he needed to be set up. And the day came, because you get set up, so when you get hit with felonies, you have a defense. Now you have to be operating exactly how we say, do what we say, because you step outside the lines, the defense is over. So he did all that, and the day came, he got raided, because we'll tell this story a little later, but he got raided and ultimately charged with several felonies. And we had the defense ready, but his father, I'm his uncle. It's like you don't go to your uncle who's a doctor to do surgery on you. Your family gets too emotional. It's the first school of thought. So we don't want to represent him. We're going to go find attorneys who we feel we can get. And so my brother went with his son, got a couple of attorneys. We're not going to say their names, but they were brothers, no less, and talked a real good game and said they were going to do what we wanted to do, which was, as my nephew so strongly said, and I to this day, you know, I was doing everything like I was supposed to. I will go to jail. This is bullshit. I'm not taking any pleas. I'm going to, we're fighting this. And they were all on board. So I might as well tell it now. Let's roll with it. We go to court, and to that point, they hadn't met me. So I showed up in court in civilian clothes, just sitting in the gallery, watching and listening, and just I want to see what this guy's going to do with my nephew. And so eventually, I hear my nephew tell him again, "I'm no deals. You know, we're ready to go to trial. I'll go to jail. I wasn't doing anything wrong."
We also had a great defense for the unreasonable search and seizure they conducted when they got in his house and found his grow. So we had a great defense. We told them that, and so that's kind of a basis for
How much did he actually get busted with, and where was it at? Was it at a residence?
Yeah, we had 24 plants growing for patients.
Okay.
But when it came out in the Cypress newspaper, it was this whole huge big grow, that was inside this house. It was just fucking ridiculous. So right after my nephew tells him, I'm not taking any deals, the attorney goes out to the lobby with the prosecutor so they can discuss. And so I walk out there, I sit down like on the bench. I'm like, maybe an arm's length away from him, reading a book. And the DA makes an offer. He was being charged with 3 felonies. I'll knock 1 felony out, have him plead to 2 felonies, 60 days county jail. And the fucking guy goes, "I'll talk my client into that." Perfect.
Wow.
And then he went back in and, of course, tried to talk my nephew into it. That was not happening at all. And he was pissed. And later that afternoon, we had my brother and nephew had a meeting at their office. I showed up 5 minutes later. The guy's face just fell off. And he's, give us our money back and, you're fired. And the blessing out of that was we ended up doing it. And we ended up getting the case dismissed because
we brought the motion.
The motion because the illegal
to dismiss
search.
Because my son did not give consent and he shut the fuck up. And
the cops lied.
Literally, we didn't need to use the defense of he was running properly, because on the motion to dismiss based on unreasonable search and seizure, my brother was able to basically, we put my son on the stand, and my son literally told the judge. I mean, he's been doing this since he was too young. Right. Okay, in the space, and he told
right there behind you.
Yeah, in this yard at one point.
That's right.
You got to help your kids, but he told the court, because my brother asked him, "Did you give consent for the search?" Because the cop said he did.
Right.
And he said, "There's no way. If I give consent, I got my dad's a lawyer, my uncle's a lawyer. I'd be disowned from the family. That's literally what he told the judge. And then my brother was able to rip the cop a new fucking asshole on the stand and showed that she was lying when she said that my kid gave consent. And I mean, there were 2 times. There was a time previously when he was growing. This was actually a delivery bust.
You just missed.
There was a bust. I mean, both times, the cops said on the video and audio, right when miraculously the audio tape went like this. And literally, that's when he gave consent.
Straight dirt bags.
That's what happened on
Straight dirt bags.
That's what
We're not
happened.
talking about yours.
No,
We're not talking
that's what
about
happened
them.
with mine.
We're talking about
That it gets what do they call unrecognizable? The wording it's undescribable at that time. Something with
Don't
the
listen to
wording.
this guy.
They have
Don't
a
listen to
wording.
this guy. He just wants to talk
a
about
certain
himself.
word for
He
that.
just wants to talk about himself. I'm sure you know the problem. You got a brother over there. I'm sure you know the problem.
No, during those tape confessions, there's usually a word that they use.
It's called
inaudible. Inaudible, right?
Inaudible.
Inaudible.
Yeah. It was, but it was amazing. 2 different police departments, 5 years apart, pulled the same fucking crap.
Yeah.
Where they said he gave consent when the audio went or blank. The
Where's
best
the
part was that in the second case, when my brother has the cop on the stand and we're showing the video, and my kid was delivering back then, and he hands the cop our business card. On our business card, on the back of it, it says, "I do not consent to a search." Right there in red. You can see, "I do not consent to a search. I want my lawyer," and it says some other stuff. She looks at it, gives it back to him, gets him out of the car, sits him on the curb. A minute and a half later, tape goes blank, and she searches his car, and he had a delivery service, and he had all kinds of shit on him, and so he got taken down for a few felonies for that one. But on the stand, my brother was able to show her the card and go, "Is that the card he handed you in the video?" And she actually admitted it. She could have said, "I don't know," but she said, "Yeah, that's the card." My brother says, "Here, could you read it to the court what it says on the back?" My brother gives it to the cop. She turns it around. "I do not consent to a search," and the other language on there. And then my brother says, "So what did you do in the minute and a half when you got him out of the car and you looked at the card and sat him on the curb? What did you say to my nephew that was going to change his mind?" And then go ahead, Mark. You remember best.
She got very confused and flustered and said I was confusing her with the timeline. And and I lost it in terms of, I said, "Well, that's because you're a liar." And that was the first, and in 26 years I've been practicing, that was the first and only time I've ever actually called a witness a liar, because you don't do that. You let the judge, let the jury make that decision on their own. But I was pissed. And so, and the judge glared at me. He didn't like it I said that. But ultimately, the judge he didn't find that he wouldn't go far as to say she's not telling the truth, she's not credible. He just ruled there was no consent. Therefore, the search was illegal. We got our order and we were able to go back into the Newport Beach Police Department. And I will say the one good thing they did, they preserved everything. Everything was in the jars. They didn't fuck with anything. The money, the edibles, the phones, the flour, the devices. Everything was kept properly. And we walked in there with our order and got everything back.
Which was after we got the case dismissed. We actually had to go in on a second motion.
Right.
And that's in the first instance, we didn't use how he was running. It was an unconsensual search and everything's thrown out. So if it was meth or coke, you don't go get it back. It's just thrown out and case dismissed.
Yeah.
So we filed our motion, and because of the way he was operating and the documentation we had, the judge ordered for it to be returned. So if you go to our Pop Brothers at Law IG page, I believe right now on the very top of our page, the last post or so is a picture of my brother and my son coming out of the Newport Beach Police Department with a box of all his shit.
That's great.
Can I ask you a question? Well, actually, two. One, was he on bail when you guys were going through trial, or?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was looking at 4 felonies.
All right. And two, when a police officer read that card that said you do not consent to a search, was that supposed to be the end of the conversation?
You mean on the scene?
Yes.
Well, not necessarily, because we tried, and we'll get into this a little bit when we go over our script. The reason we were able to get him off both times, 2 different times, one when he was growing something and one when he was delivering something, is because it was the basis for what later became known as the script. It was the basis for that, which was never consent and never fucking talk to the cops.
No.
Nothing will ever come of that.
And invoke the 5th.
How long did the case go on for? You guys fighting this case with your son and nephew?
The first one was a good 2.5 years. Second one was a good. My kid was under. I mean,
it was like 2
under
years.
so much stress.
Wow.
We're talking felony intent to transport,
Served everything?
transportation with intent to sell, and possession.
Now, was this the first case you two actually worked together on, you and your brother, as far as marijuana?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So being a litigator, I can just, whether it's criminal law or civil law, it just show me the law and I'll argue it. I don't care if it's civil. So that's how I got into the cannabis space. But my brother was already doing mainly all the criminal law and stuff like that. But this is the first case actually that brought us together, and we both learned everything inside and out. And that's how we started, and then my son has been in the industry for a long time. We know people on the ground. We were boots on the ground when we first started doing this. Only attorneys ever to go to this big sessions and high times events and chill out. We had a 10 by 10 booth where
Did you guys smoke a blunt after to celebrate?
Always.
absolutely.
Hey,
In,
so
the, court,
your
in the
nephew-
parking lot of the courthouse.
Your nephew, your son, was the catalyst for making you guys who you guys are today, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, we give them all the credit.
We don't exist. Pop brother. Well, here's true too, because after that, so these 2 cases happened like 2000, between like 2006 and 2012 or so, something like that.
Right.
And whenever Instagram started, whenever that started, he said, "You guys got to get on Instagram and teach people, what you taught me, and they'll, people need it." You looked at Instagram and it's like there's tits and drugs and what and 15-second videos and and for years he was on us to and we have Facebook, I got 5,000 friends on Facebook and I advertise our business there for free. So we fast forward to January 22nd, 2015,
Right.
and we're at the office, and now my nephew, people always ask us, where he is, and it's like, he's my nephew, it's his dad. We have to look at, Instagram and Snapchat to see where in the world is he and who's he hanging out with,
Right.
He's doing well. And
Make sure.
he will pop in, he pops in when he pops in, right? And so January 22nd, 2015, like 9:10 a.m., he pops into our office in Orange County and says, "Hey, Dad, Unc, I got some friends who want to interview attorneys on a talk show, and they want to talk about the laws that are going to change with Prop 64, and they want the attorneys to smoke with them. And they can't find anybody. I told them my dad and uncle would do it." And so I said, "Let's go. Where? My brother, well, hold on a minute. The bar is going to look at us. We're going to be smoking. Where is this? What is this? Where are we doing this?" And he goes, "Well, it's on Be Real TV."
Nice.
And so I know Cypress Hill. I know that from my high school days. But I was so dumb enough back then. I said, "He's on NBC, ABC. When did he get a TV show? What TV show is he on? I don't." And so he explains the whole, it's internet based, and okay. And then my brother and I had a 10-minute conversation. I was like, "Hey, who cares? Let's go. We're not doing anything wrong. We have our recommendations. We're in a place that's private." And so he said, "Okay, all right, Jared, when do we have to do this?" "Right now, we have to go up to LA to their studios now." And so literally we bopped up to Be Real TV Studios, got on the show called Getting High With, and it was Adam Ill who was the host. And we sat there probably for about 2 hours. It was our first interview together. We were just two brothers smoking pot, talking about all the laws, taking calls as they were coming in. And again, when we finished that, my nephew, guys got to start an Instagram page. Start it right now. Take a picture with B and start it. And so my brother decided he was going to take the initiative, even though he doesn't know anything about social media, and created Pot Brothers at Law by putting in POT space brothers space at space law. And if you don't know, that space creates an underscore. And so, you know, back then, well, who cares? But now it's my responsibility that I got to win. At the end of this show, where can we reach you guys? POT underscore brothers underscore at underscore law. You got to get those underscores in there or you won't get, you know, you'll get our backup page.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Created it, and we took some pictures with V and Adam Hill, and then I really didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about Instagram. And then I figure, well, it's got to be kind of like Facebook. It's free, and maybe we can get a few clients or something. Let's see how we're going to use it. And so I started to research like how people got followers, and there was all these things like you got to follow people so they follow you. But then all these big followers they're hardly following anybody. So like, okay, so I just every day for like 2 weeks, I had the phone in my fucking hand. That was the first thing that really irritated me about Instagram. I went to my computer at my office. Okay, let's do Instagram. You can't do shit on the computer. So the phone now it's an extension of the body. And I was following, 10,000 followers, following people in the cannabis space. And then now I'm unfollowing everybody. So unfollowing and unfollowing. And then posting, you know, like legal stuff and noticing these 15-second tips or 15-second videos. What are we going to do? We decided to do 15-second tips of the day, which I gladly say I ripped off the concept of the 15-second tip of the day from Tony Horton of P90X fame, because I did all those programs and he would always give you the tip of the day. So we created the 15-second tip of the day, and we decided, what the fuck are we going to talk about 15 seconds? And dealing with California attorneys and cannabis, people who drive around, they get fucked with the most. What's that smell? Even when it doesn't fucking smell. What's that smell? So we had already been advising clients of how to deal with cops when you get pulled over. We hadn't created the script yet, but the basics and the philosophy behind it. So we created a series of 15-second tips based on getting pulled over and our little philosophy as it was back then on getting pulled over. And that's how we started, and then posting some legal things and other posts like that. And then figuring this stupid algorithm shit and how many posts 4 a day or 6 or whatever, and just fucking with it like that. And within a month, we had about 5,000 followers. And I gauged that against the fact that it took me 7 years to get 5,000 friends on Facebook. And so I figured, you know, I don't know, something's happening. And I decided to put Pot Brothers at Law on all social media platforms just to have it out there. And as we started gaining traction from 2015 to December 24th, 2018, we amassed about 120,000 followers, and we had started going to all the sessions and the events, and it started with them, hey, here's a couple tickets. You guys want to come and hang out and talk? Here's a booth. You want a booth? Here's a 20 by 20. Here's 100 by 100.
We sat in the 10 by 10 booth, and I don't know how many of these places when we first started. I mean, it was mud, dirt, and I
set up the booth.
No, you had your helper set up the booth.
Not in the beginning. Not in the beginning. In the beginning, I got there at 5 a.m. and you strolled in at like 10 or 11.
That's true.
Wake and bake, baby. Wake and bake.
But you know what? You got to pay your dues, you know. And
that's
so and then it was
being the bigger brother.
Exactly.
That's
Eventually, they wanna pay us to come and go on stage and that all stuff. And then on December 25th, 2018. I'm on vacation. I'm on the balcony smoking a joint. And my Facebook notification for Pop Brothers at Law, because I had all different social media set, different notifications, because as attorneys, it just takes one call. And I don't want to miss it. Hey, I got raided last night, or whatever the case may be. Want to get back to them as quickly as possible. So the Facebook notifications, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, it would go off because we had 300-400 followers over there. This one morning, December 25th, it starts going ding, 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 and it's not stopping. It's going crazy. I thought my phone was broken. I turned it off, turned it on. It's still going. I get on my computer, and suddenly I find that Roger Stone reposted one of our Shut the Fuck Up Friday videos on a page on Facebook called Respect My Region. And that repost, everybody and their mother and brother started picking it up all over the place, to the point where, you know, it's like 400 or 500 million views across all of social media, World Star. And that's when we started.
Hey, but we weren't drinking goddamn cranberry. We should have been drinking some cranberry.
You guys would have blown much quicker, huh? Roger Stone, that's the guy with the big old Nixon tattoo in the back, right? The Roger Stone.
An admitted dirty political trickster. Which we actually had met. We had met before a year or two earlier at one of the business conventions we started going to, and we interviewed him. I mean, he seemed like a real nice guy. He was pro pot. I think he was trying to get his, knowing that it's going to go corporate at some point. He was getting in early on the game. But that was kind of ironic that 2 years later, we don't know if he remembered us from our interview with him or not. But he just, he said this should be my lawyer because he couldn't shut the fuck up. He had a gag order.
That's right.
Before he went to jail and got convicted, he had a gag order because he couldn't shut the fuck up, and that's why right during that period of time is when he posted that. Give that a little perspective.
Oh, that was so great.
But a lot of our pages, my son told me, was literally organic. I mean, we started giving free advice that other attorneys make you pay $500 to answer a single, stupid question about your rights or about just to get in the door. Doesn't matter what it's about. And my son said, no one's doing that. So we started giving California legal advice for cannabis patients mainly, and other things that applied to all other criminal activity. And then it would just organically get bigger. And so one day I told my son, dude, can you have your buddy, he's hanging out with Wiz. And I said, get Wiz to shout us out, man. He's like, Dad, you don't do that. It's got to be organic. And then fast forward a couple months later, actually, B.O.B. reposted one of our things, and he's pretty big guy. I met him at one of the secret sessions my son had him come to, but it just organically, and then just, the Roger Stone is what made it more visible to outside of Instagram.
I mean, you guys, for lack of a better word, you guys are rock stars of the cannabis community.
I don't know about rock stars.
No, you guys are rock stars.
Yeah, you are.
You guys are rock stars there, brother.
I don't even smoke weed, and I know who you guys are.
I mean, I think the thing is with us is we don't bullshit. I've been in this business too long. I go way back to days in the cannabis industry where it was all handshakes for a lot of goddamn money.
Right.
And it was handshakes. And if very few people lasted in that industry back in the day, if your word wasn't your bond. And so we're real upfront. We don't tell people what they want to hear. We tell people what they need to hear. And if they don't like it, they can go somewhere else. And, we don't give a shit. But we're just straight up like, in the cannabis space right now, people come in, I try to talk them out of it. It's so over-regulated, over-taxed, over-licensed. It's just, that's a whole nother soapbox I could get on regarding how legalization is, how the real world is affected by how it got legalized. And that's a whole nother issue.
Well, I mean, but the cannabis issue, I kind of want to get into that. It's kind of in limbo, right? People think if you're in California, people think it's legal. Now, is cannabis legal in California?
There is no in limbo. So this is for all you people listening out there. Listen up and listen up good. They should have never said legalization. They should have said partial legalization. Because if you don't have a medical rec, anything an ounce or more, you're getting a misdemeanor for possession. If you're trying to sell it, you're getting a possession with intent to sell. If you're transporting it, you're gonna have transportation charge 3 misdemeanors. It's not legal. I mean, it's not, people are still getting arrested for it. So it's not legal. That's why do you think we represent so many people going out of the goddamn airport, LAX? No matter how many times we say this on these videos, not enough people can see it. Or it's not, you know, we have almost up to 500,000 on Instagram, but that's still not enough because we get calls every day. Well, I thought it was legal. Some people, they're taking 2-3 ounces maybe, which is too many. Under an ounce, LAX doesn't care.
Really?
Doesn't mean you can't get busted on the other end with that 1 ounce. Or we get people going, oh, they got 16 ounces and they weren't, you know, they try to play stupid. But for the most part, people bring a little more than they should, and they bought it legally, and they bought it at a legal store.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not legal to fly with it, and it's not legal to have more than what that state's limits are. So the shortest answer is no, it's not legal completely.
Did in Congress, didn't they just had a vote on legalization?
Yeah.
That's the MORE
House
Act.
of Representatives passed the MORE Act. The MORE Act, I can't think of the goddamn acronym right now, but it would deschedule marijuana. It would allow states to enact their own laws regarding cannabis. I haven't been able to read it yet. I've been super busy. But I believe there's some kind of taxes involved. People are treating it kind of like Prop 64, where a lot of people were against it. And in looking back, they made perfect sense in 2020 hindsight, which we actually had, but the powers that be were able to pay for the votes to get that initiative 64 on the ballot. And you have a lot of people who are like, I mean, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. They wanted all this bullshit in there, but yet they were going to let people out of jail. So businesses are going to be overregulated, overtaxed. You know, people are still going to go to the illicit market because they don't want to pay the 48% fucking effective tax on legal weed. But hey, people are going to get out of jail.
It's called the marijuana opportunity. It's called the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act.
So, but before we talk about it any further, we're not going to talk about it anymore, and I'll tell you why. Because until this is the House of Representatives, until the Senate votes on it as well and passes it, it means nothing. And until the Democrats flip the Senate, right now it's in Republican control. If it stays in Republican control, that bill from the U.S. House of Representatives that passed gets taken over to the Senate and dropped on the fucking floor by Mitch McConnell.
Right.
And it dies on the floor. They don't have to do shit. So anybody listening out in Georgia, there's a big, huge race out in Georgia. This thing ain't over. 2 Republican incumbents running for re-election are up against 2 Democratic senators or who want to take his seat. If we can flip those 2 to Democrat, then the Democrats will have control of the House and the Senate, and there might be a chance that MORE Act could get approved by the Senate and signed by the president. So we have to wait and see what happens with the Senate, which is coming up in January. So Democrats in Georgia, don't sit on your fucking butt, man. It's not over.
Oh.
Get out.
You think Biden would sign that bill?
Yes.
Nice.
Well, don't say that so quick.
I
Don't
think
say it so quick. Out of all the freaking, no, out of all
He will.
the candidates,
He's smoking.
he had the worst position on cannabis. But what I think is going to happen, and I've done a lot of reading about this, is if both houses actually pass it, he's going to be hard fucking pressed not to.
he's signing it.
I don't think he won't sign it, but it's not a slam dunk. You never know. You never know with these fucking guys.
Hey, so
So let's get a little bit back on track here. We still haven't got to where you guys actually created the Pot Brothers. You guys, we fought the case with your son and nephew. You guys started going to these events. Where was it where you guys are smoking a doobie and sitting there saying, we should call ourselves the Pot Brothers and start this firm?
I got the answer. I got the answer for that. And that we have to go back to, I'd say about 2000, 2008, 2009.
Who cares? Just say a long time ago.
How about you let me talk and don't interrupt? You can't get, you're making it take longer. And you're texting me to stop taking so long. He's texting me.
Oh, Jesus.
Let me finish.
He's going.
So we're outside smoking in the parking lot of where our office is, which is now known as the set of the tip of the day, where we do all that stuff. And we were just smoking because that's where we go for our break to smoke our cannabis. You know, we go out every 5 or 10 minutes to take our breaks when we're working. And so I was doing a lot of cannabis cases and a lot of criminal defense cannabis cases. And we were talking, hey, we smoke pot, we're brothers, law attorneys. And it was kind of a joke. We're pot brothers at law. I'm going to make some cards that say pot brothers at law and I do not consent to searches on the back. So, and give them to clients. So, and that was it. That's what it was until my brother 7 years later created Pot Brothers at Law Instagram account. And that's when we actually more cards. And then we got into the evolution of the script and teaching people about their constitutional and civil rights when dealing with law enforcement. And we actually we're still looking for some of them, but we have like the very first card we made. And it was, you know, it was 60 words. It was 50. It was how can we massage this so it's the easiest way? And I don't know, maybe 3-4 months in, 6, I don't know how long it was from we started the Instagram account to when we came up with, this is the script. It's 25 words and this is it. And shut the fuck up. And my nephew, I'll never forget, he said, because someone said, you guys got to get hats. We had like 10,000 followers and we got to get hats. The fuck are we going to put on a hat? And my nephew, #STFU. You know, and he's a freaking marketing genius, you know, with everything he does.
Right.
So, you know, that's kind of how it all kind of started and came together. We had no idea. We were just looking, maybe we'll get a few new clients.
Right.
I know. Well, but then it morphed into really helping people. You know, it morphed into really helping people know their rights. And then it even crossed over with all this fucking cop shit to where, you know, to lessen your chance of that happening. If you do what we say, it's going to lessen just like when I ride my motorcycle, I ride it a certain way. I don't split if I'm going fast. I wear a helmet. You do all these things to bring your risk level down. And that's how a traffic stop has to be looked at, because 9 times out of 10, that's where the worst shit starts. These fucking traffic stops. And we were able to just, you know, and then so it eventually came to the 25 words of the least amount of things you can say and the least offensive things you can say. Because when they start asking you about your day, you know they want something more than giving you a ticket. Otherwise, they would have said, I pulled you over because you ran a red light. I pulled you over because you were blinking. You know, you didn't use your blinker. No, they come up and they want to start talking. They want to make every stop something other than the traffic ticket. That's why you say, why'd you pull me over? That's why the first part of the script, we might as well hit it now. Why did you pull me over? And that starts the clock for a Supreme Court case that says they have to. They're supposed to give you that ticket within so many minutes of them identifying why they pulled you over. So if they detain you for 30 minutes and you ask them why in the beginning and it's on tape, then we could potentially have a defense of anything you said. I mean, they violated this, you know, how long they were supposed to detain you. So that's one of the big reasons, why'd you pull me over? And then no matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter, hey, that's a nice hat. Where'd you get your hat? Like that tattoo. Who's your tattoo artist? Not discussing my day. You had 3 drinks. You're not drunk. Or you don't think you're drunk. You might not even be a bit drunk, but you might have enough in your system to test drunk. And when they ask, this is the best example. Just like with weed, DUIs. People, please, when they ask you when you last smoked or drank or how much you had, I'm not discussing my day. Because you never want to.
Let's run through the script. We're getting pulled over now. Let's run through the script. Let's see how we guys do it.
Throw it out.
All right. So this is actually what we do on Shut the Fuck Up Fridays. Most of our tips, we do the script review. Big brother, what do you say when the cops first pull you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when they start asking you questions?
I'm not discussing my day.
And they keep asking any question, whatever it is they say, what do you say?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
I invoke the fifth.
And then what do?
I shut the fuck up.
Fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Simple. And you know, we do get some questions and pushback from minorities and people of color that, hey, that's not going to work for me. I'm going to get my ass beat if I say I'm not discussing my day. And we're not telling anybody to be rude, obnoxious, or anything. It's just, I'm not discussing my day. And a cop that's going to beat you and rip you out of the car because you said that is a cop who's going to do that no matter what. Yeah. And to really solidify what we're teaching is for, we go through really quickly what it's not for. What these 25 words and shutting the fuck up are not for. It's not to ensure that you're not going to get profiled and pulled over by a cop. It's not to ensure that you're not going to get some kind of ticket, that you're not going to get charged or arrested, that you're not going to get your ass beat, or you're not going to get killed. All those things happen at stops. We can't do anything about that. What we can do is help you preserve all of your rights, remedies, and defenses if everything goes sideways and you get charged criminally and you have a possible civil case against them for the violation of your rights. So when we're looking at police reports at the end of the day, if I'm looking at police report, audio, video, and all I read about and see and hear is language coming from the cop's mouth, we are going to have the best shot to show that they violated your rights. If you start talking, every time somebody says something other than what we're telling you to do, then you're unwittingly and unknowingly ruining a defense that an attorney can use later. And we want every single defense at our let me throw everything out there and use what I can. And so that's really, you know, to bring it all around, we believe that it does work for everybody. And we have testimonials from people in the Deep South and just everywhere that they've used it. And by and large, they get, okay, you know, just be on your way. Because if you listen to further what we say and, you know, don't have anything in plain view and don't keep it smelling fresh, don't give them reason, because they're going to make up. There's no reason to give them the reason. They're going to make it up. And the best combat to do that is by shutting the fuck up and making sure we can use all of our resources to prove an illegal search happened and illegal activity happened and they violated your rights.
Now I have one question. Behind you on the punching bag, is that shut the fuck up?
Yes, that's our sticker, our hashtag STFU sticker. And this is a sticker of the script, which you can put right on your window, right above you. And it goes right there. We'll send you a nice package.
Right. Oh, I like that, because I was looking at it, I was like, it was bugging me. I was like, does that thing shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
That's our it's a bumper sticker too.
That's right.
When people actually use the script, what would you say the percentages of the case being much better than people who actually talk? No, that's
100%.
100%. But you know, the best example of us being told how it really worked was, I can't remember where it was. Someone DM'd us this, that he went through the whole script. He got arrested, taken to the station. I think he sat there for 8 fucking hours, and they let his ass go with no charges, no nothing, because they were sniffing for something.
Yes.
And he didn't give it to him. Because remember this, the only reason law enforcement is talking to you, the only reason, they don't have enough to arrest you on.
That's right.
That's on any kind of case, though.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, because so what happened also, for I think one of the reasons we blew up a little more was all these things that relate to stops in California, what the law is, what the laws of California are, ultimately translate to Fourth Amendment constitutional issues, which you have that same civil rights and the Fourth Amendment rights of unreasonable search and seizure, and all those other rights to invoke your fifth. And you should know to use them all the time. Doesn't matter what situation you're in, even though this all born from surrounding cannabis and how to deal with a stop, it just rolled over into nationwide applicability from California only to just all of a sudden this apply. Fourth Amendment's in every state.
That should be applied regardless if you're doing nothing, anything illegal anyways, correct? That should be applied, period.
You know what's interesting? We talked to, where was that guy we talked to, in what country?
A couple of them, UK, Canada,
I think
and
it was UK. In the UK, and I think we've heard this about some other countries, the cops literally are just trained to tell you that the minute they get out of their car. They have to tell you what we're trying to teach the world, what your rights are. The cop literally, that's their training, is to do that.
You don't have to talk to me. That's what the cops in
you don't have to talk to me. That's what he said. The cops
in UK have to tell you after they get you out of the car, you don't have to talk to me.
Okay, so if I get stopped, right? Would I get in trouble if I told the cop the first thing out of my mouth was "shut the fuck up"?
We don't advise saying that.
Okay, we just want to make sure on that one.
No. Remember, let's just make it clear, because this happened we were at an event, and there was a big crowd, and we went through the script, and we go, and then what do you? No, it was in the beginning, like, what do you say to the cop? The guy said, "Shut the fuck up," and like, no, it's what you say was what you do after you invoke the fifth. In the script is what do you do? You shut the fuck up.
Okay, so I don't lose my teeth or nothing, right?
Yeah, not the cop. Don't get that backwards. If all else fails and you have not memorized the script, which we highly recommend you do, you read it every day, because when that cop comes up to the door, it is intimidating. Very, 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 very intimidating.
If you watch our Instagram and Snap stories and Facebook stories, I go on every day without fail, take some rips and bongs and dabs and do the daily script review, which for me, and I do it myself in my car, and it's just, why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I invoke the fifth and I shut the fuck up, because it's muscle memory, because we have heard from a lot of people who've been following us for years. They finally get pulled over and fuck, I knew I was supposed to shut the fuck up. I got scared and I forgot, and you probably think I'm stupid now. And I've heard it so much, and it's like, you got to make it like those times tables, like just muscle memory. So when you get pulled over, and you will get pulled over one day in your life, everybody's going to, you'll be ready if you just, a couple times a day, put it in your head. And it'd be remiss if we didn't touch on when we do these seminars on getting pulled over and what to do. There's a course of action we tell you to take before you get in your car to minimize your exposure to even getting pulled over. Reduce the risk of a cop pulling you over. Make sure all your blinkers and lights are working. People get pulled over for that stupid shit. Cracks in your windows can get you pulled over. Shit hanging from your mirror and get you pulled over. The tags, right? Not only if they're out of date, but if the license plate holder is covering it up too much, that's a violation. That'll get you pulled over. And then the big one we get from all across the country, that goddamn little light that illuminates the rear license plate being out. That'll get you pulled over. So, you do all that, little walk around, make sure everything's working, then get in your car, take your ID out of your wallet, take your insurance out of the glove compartment, take your registration out of the center console. Everyone's got their shit. So that way, when a cop pulls you over, the last thing you want to do is reach.
Right.
You put it all together, put it on your visor, and then you've got your hands on the wheel when you've been pulled over, so they see where your hands are, and that's the movement. So those are the things we recommend doing when you get in your car.
So for instance, I got pulled over probably about 3 years ago. I go into a liquor store, I come out with beer, I notice there's a cop across the street just checking me out. So I stick the beer in the trunk, I drive off, he pulls me over. It's not even LAPD, it's Homeland Security, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? And so he doesn't say shit, he just pulls me out, opens my door, pulls me out. They put me on the curb, they searched my whole car, didn't ask me shit. They made me take off my shirt to take pictures of me, and then they just let me go. And I'm like, well, what do you do at that point? Because they didn't arrest you, they didn't give you no ticket. Like they violated all laws.
You can't shut the fuck up.
You can file a complaint.
What was profile you?
Yeah. Yeah, all you can do is file a complaint with the department.
I would have pulled them over.
Yeah, I would have told them shut the fuck up.
So pretty much all you can do is just go. I don't even know where to go. It was Homeland Security.
Well, that's what they said they were. Did they show you ID?
Yeah, he was fully in uniform and everything.
That's Homeland Security.
It was Homeland Security.
Yeah, what you
And
would.
where was this?
This was in Burbank.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
They didn't
I
leave a card, nothing, no card.
No, yeah, he had a car. He had lights. He had partners with them.
Give
They
you
even,
a car?
they even called in Burbank PD, but they didn't do nothing. They just sat there and watched, you know. But it was Homeland Security doing everything. They made me take off my shirt, take pictures of all my tattoos, take pictures of me, and then they just, okay, you can go now. And then my whole car was tore up because they ripped my car apart.
I mean, yeah, the only thing you could do is complain to the LA Department of Homeland Security. And
Yeah.
Complaint.
They'll get you.
That's it.
Hey, so
Are you guys ever looked down upon by other attorneys that think you guys smoke pot and attorneys shouldn't be smoking pot? You guys should have a certain different kind of moral ethics than other people.
Fuck 'em.
Shut the fuck up.
We really haven't. We get more of from other attorneys. I wish I had the balls to do that. You know, I smoke at home and I don't let anybody know.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really we're doing what a lot of people wish they. I guess I don't know. We're just doing us. That's what we do. And if you don't like it, go to the attorneys who have that 3 martini lunch and they're getting drunk. And you know, this is how we medicate. You know, all right, you come to our office, it's gonna smell a little like cannabis. I mean,
You guys are bringing people out the closet because a lot of people, they think weed smokers and they just think stay stoners, and that's couldn't be far from the truth, right?
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough with the little exposure we've had to try to change the stigma. You know, because when I decided to say fuck it, let's do it on social media, I'd already been pretty open about it. I'm part of a motorcycle club, and initially when I first started going around them, this years ago, you know, I would go around the corner and kind of hide it, so to speak, but you know, whatever, or smoke before I went there. And then gradually I started smoking when I got there. And then gradually I started smoking, you know, I didn't walk as far away from the group that I used to when I wanted to go smoke.
right.
And eventually all the way up to, you know, now, I mean, this is right before we started doing this on social media. I was like, fuck it. You know what? I'm not going to hide it. If you're one of my friends and you don't like it, then fuck you.
That's right.
And I actually, in the group, it's a funny story, just real quick. I changed one of the wives' mind because she was total anti-weed because her brother was a loser and he smoked weed,
Yeah.
right? And I said, you know what? I won't say her name. I said, you know what? He's not a loser because he smokes weed. He's a loser who smokes weed.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
You know, and then she sees me come around successful, bought a new Harley, good to go. I'm, you know, and I'm smoking like a, you know, every time they see me, I'm smoking a joint.
I think you guys are a little. I think you're a little above successful. I seen a video with your brother overlooking a bunch of yachts with a big ass blunt. Like I was like, damn, like that.
No, we're modest. We're modest, man. I mean,
that was somebody else's boat.
Yeah, I seen him overlooking the harbor and all these yachts. I was like, wow, this guy got money.
We get invited to nice places. That's all.
Yeah, no, we keep our shit reasonable. That's why we're where we are. We have a very modest little office. That's why our not even to throw it in there, just kind of, you know, our rates are so much more reasonable than someone on the 40th floor in Century City, because they got to pay for, just imagine 40th floor Century City, what that space has got to go for.
How many cases are you guys running at one time, juggling with?
It's an interesting question.
A lot.
You know,
I would say here
a couple hundred.
Yeah, I mean, because we're handling
everything's like overlaps or.
Well, hold on, we have criminal defense cases that I pretty much primarily handle the criminal defense cases, and we probably have 40, 50 of those going, and that's all fucked up right now because of COVID. Cases that started, you know, last year my January fucking calendar is crazy because it's all just been pushed for the last 8 months. And then we've got lots of clients in the business and licensing aspect of the game, which my brother handles all that and compliance and regulations and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, probably a couple hundred but we're always taking new clients, and you know, there's enough for everybody, you know, in this cannabis space if you've got the wherewithal and the stamina to deal with all the fucking, like my brother was saying, all the bullshit if you really want to get in the business.
Do you have a real a case that's so big that everybody would know about it? Like, so big?
Yeah, well, there was our big case against the CHP. This goes back now, I think 2-3 years or so. We had a client, a licensed cannabis distribution company. Transportation company, licensed out of Eureka up north. They came from up north from Humboldt, delivered a bunch of flour to 3 different licensed storefronts in LA, unloaded it all, got all the money, $255,000, put it in the safe as they're supposed to in their truck, drove back up north. They get pulled over somewhere near Modesto. The cops pull them over for mud flap violation, which is a bunch of bullshit. And the kicker, our 2 clients are former CHP. So it was this whole big thing. They did an illegal search in the whole 9 yards. They broke open the safes. They took the $255,000, gave it to the Department of Homeland Security, thinking they were being smart, because under something called the Warbacher-McClintock rider to the spending bill, the Department of Justice cannot spend money prosecuting anybody for cannabis crimes if they are following the law in their state and operating legitimately. So, but that's just the Department of Justice. Homeland Security is not an arm of the Department of Justice. It's a different arm of the federal government. And when the CHP seizes money like that and they give it to Homeland Security and it never gets recovered, it's called equitable sharing. And the CHP then get back 80% of whatever they found. So they're incentivized to do this shit. So that all goes down. They get us, and we work with our associate Matt Cuman up north, and it's a whole big thing to file the asset forfeiture to get the money back. But once we get it all done and we get the motion in court, and this is over like, a year and a half, 2 years, they cannot send the prosecutor who works for the Department of Justice into court to argue the motion because our clients were operating properly. So at the end of the day, we got the $255,000 back. Wow. But it ruined our clients' lives. Their business was ruined. It's all fucked, but, and they, shut the fuck up and the whole 9 yards. But, and that's why some of our retainers for clients that are in the legal licensed cannabis industry include built-in criminal defense representation, because even with that license, you still might have to go through the process and have to defend yourself. It's fucked up.
Wow. So when did you guys, we were talking about how you where the lawyers are smoking and most people don't have the boss do it. When did you guys actually come out of the green closet and smoke on social media?
Well, I guess
that night would be real.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as social media goes, that was the point that I was babbling about earlier, is where I'd already kind of come out to, I don't care who I was around. I'm not going to go down the block and smoke. If you don't like it, too bad. And that's when I decided, you know what? It's going to be a bunch of stoners watching it on the internet. Screw it.
Okay, so
that was the night.
Can you name the strongest weed you've smoked?
Hardcore OG West Coast Cure.
That's what they smoke, my boy.
Huh?
Hardcore OG West Coast Cure. I'm smoking it right now.
Oh, that's what they smoke, brother.
I got a new one. Jet fuel.
Fuel?
Hardcore jet fuel.
So when the cops pull you over and they smoke weed, I used to think that they smoke weed, that's it, they got an arrest. That's not the case?
If you're smoking weed while you're driving?
No, if you just smell, let's say I smoked a joint in the car at a park or something. Now I'm driving away, the joint's put away, but there's just a big smell of weed in the car.
What? Smell is no longer probable cause in the state, independent probable cause in the state of California. Mm-hmm. And if more people need to know that, because if you shut the fuck up, and that's the only thing the cop has, because they're not all schooled on this yet either. But even though it's not probable cause, if they put it in their report, it is not. I searched because it smelled, and that's all there is. We're gonna get the case dismissed. If you get arrested because of something that you had, whatever, but the search would be illegal at that point.
Is there any way to test to see if you're a DUI suspect?
Yeah, so in California, when they get you out and they're suspecting you of DUI, it's very important that you know your rights to not, and it's different in every state. So wherever state you're at, you should Google these things. So in California, you don't have to do the field sobriety test on the side of the road. Touch your nose, walk the line, or any of that shit. You don't have to do it. It's voluntary. Do not do it. When they ask you to blow in breathalyzer on the side of the road, you don't have to do that. Do not do it. Once they arrest you, take you into custody, then under the implied consent law that says, here's my driver's license I signed for, if I'm arrested and alleged to be DUI, I will take a blood, breath, or urine test. If I refuse that, DMV takes your license for a year. And that's different in all states, so you should find out.
Oh, so what you're saying is you have a right to refuse the DUI test until they actually arrest you. And then
it's called field sobriety. Field sobriety.
Yeah, but then they have to arrest you first before.
You have to be under arrest. You have to be under arrest before you have to do blood, breath, or urine. You're under arrest.
I didn't know that.
Before you're arrested, prior to being arrested, the field sobriety tests are voluntary, and they're actually supposed to tell you they're voluntary. And they kind of do tell you that in a tricky way. When they say, you don't have to do them, but it's going to probably help you, or, what's the big deal, or whatnot. If
you're okay, what are you worried about?
I had to politely decline them one day I got pulled over after coming out of a bar, and I politely declined them. They were not happy. They were not happy with me, but I didn't say a fucking word. That's why you never lie to the cop. That's why I'm not discussing my day, because you never lie no matter what. I had a couple drinks. He asked me how many I had. I said, I'm not discussing my night. And I thought I was done. But I wouldn't do the field sobriety test. And they had nothing other than my lights were off when I pulled out of the fucking bar. That's the only reason they pulled me over.
Uh-huh.
So,
wow.
You
taught me something. You taught me something today.
He learned something today.
So I'm gonna tell him, shut the fuck up, and I ain't taking a sobriety test. Right?
Able to get away with that.
Pre-arrest.
Make
sure it's pre-arrest field sobriety test.
Oh, I'm getting right out there
for everybody. You guys ever run into?
We want to make sure you're safe, and the other thing we want to add is the last thing we'll add is
last thing you'll add
is comply and complain later.
That's right. That's
right.
And complain later. And it doesn't mean, don't let that mean, compliance does not mean talking to them or engaging with them. Complying means, even if they have no reason to get you out of the car. None. They're 100% wrong. If you really want to take the beating, my hat's off to you. Otherwise, just get out of the car.
Yes.
And these are attorneys telling you this. People, and that's the crazy part. Sometimes people just don't listen. These are actual attorneys telling you this. Do you think that a lot of the stuff that you see on TV of cops shooting people, and doing all that, do you think a lot of that could be avoided if they would just follow what you're saying?
Yes.
Like my brother said, we would like to think so. We would like to think that it has. We've heard a lot of stories from a lot of people across the country, in other countries, that it works. Some people have told us that the cop, I don't want to say flustered, but they don't even get the ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
And otherwise they get the ticket. They're going to have to make a quick decision. This guy knows his rights. Am I just going to give him the ticket and go on to the next guy who's going to go blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Well, and the thing is, you never know which cop you're going to get. And the way we see it, there's three different kinds of cops. There's the cop who is pulling you over. He's looking really quick. Okay, nothing's sticking out at him or whatever. And you know your rights. Okay, you know your rights. There's nothing going on here. Get on your way. I'm going to get the next 10 people who don't know their rights and they're going to start talking to me. Or you get the cop who doesn't know or doesn't like that you know your rights. And I will say this, we talk about, you know, smell isn't probable cause and all these things. If you get pulled over, don't tell that to a cop. We get cop said it was smell, and I said, no, that ain't probable cause in California. You know, because even though you're right, all that's going to do is irritate the cop because they know they're not going to back down, and that's going to ultimately probably lead to the more of a chance that they're going to fuck with you because you just told them that you know more than them, and they don't like that. So you get that cop who doesn't like that you know your rights, they're going to fuck with you. All the more reason to shut up. Then we're hearing about these other cops who, when you say, why did you pull me over? Okay, yeah, I'm not discussing my day. Gee, you follow the Pop Brothers at law, huh? Just get out of here. And we've had a couple people from different DM us with that across the nation. And, you know, it's,
right.
We actually have, we have a lot of law enforcement who actually support us.
Right.
Because if you really think about engaging the script, it cuts down on just so much stuff that can happen at a stop, you know, and they, you know, they actually, you know, like us for it because we're not putting down law enforcement. We do put down bad law enforcement.
Right.
Well, and there's a sergeant out of Kentucky who reached out to actually follows up our TikTok, and he has his night shift. All the officers in his night shift before they go out on patrol stand up and recite the script and acknowledge that they know and understand that people out there have their constitutional rights, and we're out there to police for safety. And that's the thing. If cops are pulling you over and going, hey, you should have used your blinker back there. Here's a ticket. You were speeding. Slow down. Be safe. That's not what they're doing. They're looking for the reason to pull you over and looking for a way to get in your car.
Yes.
So this helps that.
I want to take it back to the DUI. So once you get arrested, you have to take those sobriety tests?
No.
You can deny them after you get arrested.
Yeah, once you get arrested, the only thing you have to do is a chemical test, which is the blood, breath, or urine test. You don't have to do any of the other shit ever.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you must do is a chemical test after you're arrested. If you refuse that, then it has nothing to do with the court. The DMV revokes your license automatically.
But they revoke your license anyways once you get a DUI. No?
No, they will suspend it for up to 4 months, but you can fight that suspension.
Okay.
You can't fight the revocation for refusing the chemical test.
I get it.
Now, is there any, the breathalyzer? Say you take the breathalyzer and you smoke some weed prior to driving. Does that breathalyzer detect that?
No,
wait. It for one, well, go ahead.
No, let me address that, because if they suspect drugs, you're gonna have to do a urine or a blood test.
Okay,
That's
how they detect it.
You can't do a breath it doesn't exist. And whatever they finally come out with, or whatever the fuck they're gonna try to use to detect cannabis, is never gonna work, because you cannot quantify impairment like they have scientifically over decades with 0.08 alcohol here in California. That has been tested, and that's a legal presumption that you're impaired to drive from alcohol. No such thing with cannabis. I don't believe there'll ever be one.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
The only way you're going to get your DUI for cannabis, the only way, is if you don't shut the fuck up.
Oh no, you definitely put that in my head. Everybody shut the fuck up. You know what? My wife uses that same technicality. I walk in the house, shut the fuck up. Okay, it works.
Our DUI cases, almost all of our DUI cases, are because someone said, I smoked an hour ago before I left, sir. I'm not, I smoked 4 hours ago. We had one, I smoked 24 hours ago. And then boom, that's it. If you just said, I'm not discussing my night, you wouldn't have that case on him.
The problem with saying those things, unfortunately, is we have to look at that statement and how's a jury going to react? There's reefer madness like crazy out there. You get a couple people on, oh man, you smoked 4 hours, you're too high, you shouldn't be driving. You smoked yesterday and you woke up in the morning. So when you don't have that to contend with, and then we get our experts to come in and the blood and all that, we can fight these cannabis DUIs.
Can you right now I'm gonna take a little break. With you guys are on. Can you pass me Santa Claus, please?
Uh-oh.
Pass me Santa Claus, please. You
It
know,
looks like me, huh? The Mexican version.
Since you guys have inspired me here, let me see
Oh,
what Santa has.
look at that, look.
Put Santa back over there, please.
Look at that, look.
Who am I not gonna come out the green closet? I might come out the regular closet later on in life, but right now, I'm gonna come out the green closet with who else?
My brother-in-law, brother.
That's right.
That's right, Dan. No better way to do it. Especially since we can't
Is that a
pass it.
first?
Can't pass it no more. Here, we can virtual pass.
There you go.
Yes.
I think that was my first virtual pass.
There you go. You see?
Yeah, that's right.
I got it.
So now I got a question for you guys. From some of our subscribers. This one's from Jaime Puente. Why do some shops still require medical cards and some don't?
Because the biggest reason for that is if it's a legal shop, if it's legal, regulated, licensed, permitted. Some cities have only passed laws allowing medical storefronts. That was their entree. That was that city's entree into going from a ban to, okay, we're gonna have these shops in our neighborhood, but if we say it's medical, it's okay. And so there's still cities that have medical only. Most cities are going medical and adult use, but you can find some cities that have only, like their stores will be medical only.
Right. Now, do you guys think people should have a medical card, or just do it the way you're 18 and over and you get it?
Until there's no more penal code sections for cannabis,
Right.
100% you should get your card. You go from being able to have from 1 ounce to 8 ounces. That's huge right there alone. You
And
can grow as many as you can medically prove you need. So there's really no limit. There's these basic limits, 12 and 24, mature and immature, but those are just guidelines if you have your card. If you don't have your card, it's anything over 1 ounce, you're fucked.
And in California, with your physician's recommendation, well, let's say without it, 21 and older, you're allowed. You can be 18 with a physician recommendation. In fact, you can be under 18 and your parents can consent with the doctor and you can get a physician's recommendation. So if you've got a kid out there in California who's, got it, whether you like it or not, and he has it, get him the fucking recommendation. Because as an adult, 21, without it, you can go purchase it, but you can't smoke it anywhere. You can't smoke it outside. You can't be you got to be under your covers. You got to be in private. You can't smoke it anywhere. There's very few lounges around. I think there's a couple in sporadic spots, but you have to be in private places. With your physician's recommendation, there become 5 places you cannot smoke. And that is in a no smoking zone, within 1,000 feet of a school or youth facility, in a motor vehicle that's operating while operating a boat, and on a school bus. If you're not anywhere in those places, somebody's sparking up a cigarette or a smelly cigar, you can have your joint. Now, if you're at like a Disneyland or amusement park or place like that where they allow smoking, they don't necessarily, in fact, Disneyland doesn't allow cannabis smoking. They allow you to smoke in this little area cigarettes, but not cannabis. So that would be considered a no smoking zone for cannabis. And there are some cities, like Manhattan Beach, that are no smoking zone cities. You can't smoke anything. So be aware. We always say that if you're traveling or visiting, do a little Google search and be aware of where you're smoking.
I got a question for you, Mark. How much weed do you smoke a day? Look at him.
There we go.
Because I noticed Craig doesn't smoke as much as Mark does.
Well,
Very true.
So
Very true.
I never keep track, and I get asked that a lot. And my answer is always, I smoke as much as I can. And what I mean by that is I have a variety of issues that I use both CBD and THC for, and I like to smoke. And right now I'm out here, I'm in my garage. I can smoke as much as I want.
Right.
I go inside, I got my 3 kids in there, you know, or we're at the office. I'm in court. I'm doing work all day. I can't smoke for hours on end. You know, as soon as I can smoke, I'm smoking. If that means when we used to go to those consumption events, I'd start smoking at 7 a.m. and stop at 4 a.m. the next morning. So as much as I can.
So is that an ounce, 2 ounces, rough 2 pounds a day?
Just answer the question.
I probably go through over an ounce a week.
Over an ounce a week.
A day.
Nah, an ounce a week. Because I'm also dabbing and vaping and edibles. I got about 5,000 milligrams of edibles I got to get in me a day so I can function.
If in the summertime you go like this to Mark, and you'll get high. Hey, I got another question. This one was actually my wife was the one that gave me this one yesterday. What's the law regarding employers and their employees smoking weed? Because you can have like let's say you have you got your depression. If you're taking antidepressants, they don't test you for that. So what is it in California or in the States?
Right now, it's fucked up. They can do whatever they want. They can treat it as a drug, and they can fire you for it.
Yeah.
Period. They can still it's in some states when they pass the marijuana law, especially the medical ones, they put that in there where you can't be discriminated against, you know, by an employer because you use it, you have a medical card for it. But here in California, you're just fucked. Sorry to say it. That's the best way to put it.
Now, is there any laws trying to be put into act to change that? Do you know of, or no?
Not that I'm aware of about that issue right now.
And you guys haven't thought about actually trying to get something off the ground like that? Or are you guys just too busy right now with your legal work and stuff?
No, that's a whole different fight. Actually, there is beginnings of something for 2022 that I can't talk about much right now, but we'll definitely let you know about hopefully some good things coming on the 2022 ballot for California.
What about 2024 and the Pop Brothers at Law for President?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Only one person said that. Stop.
You got my vote. Just put us in the cabinet. We'll be all right.
So,
who's your tailor, man? Where do you get the suits?
Oh, Homer's always pimped out.
Where do you get the suits,
Homer's
baby?
always pimped out.
That's my wife is my stylist.
She does a good job, man.
my wife, my
Well,
mom,
and-
my clothes.
I gotta dress myself.
Well, so what's funny, what's interesting about it, I think it is, when we got married, you know, I got married, I was 35 when I got married. So I was already who I was and set in my way, as we both were. She was 32. So the first 3 weeks of our marriage, I'm getting ready every day to go to court. And every day, that doesn't match. That tie doesn't match. That doesn't match. And I, what the fuck? I could dress myself. And I got very offended. And I was pissed. And we would fight. And then one morning, it happened. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to fight about this. Just, what do you want me to wear? Put it out and I'll wear it. And she did. And so what happened was, anytime I had to go to court, you know, she got my suit ready or whatever. And maybe we'd go out, you know, once or twice a month, leave the kids home and go out and party, and she'd dress me all up. And then when this started in 2015, and I go to court more, my brother's home or at the office more, and so I'm always dressed, and he typically has a hat and his sunglasses, t-shirt, you know, and maybe a blazer. And we started doing our tips, and people were commenting more on the way I was dressed than the fucking legal information we were doing. And it got to the point where we started doing the conventions and going, and we're getting more and more exposure. And every weekend we were going different places. And so it became a full-time thing. Because my wife at one point, I go, I need something to wear, you know, this week. She goes, well, wear that. And I go, no, I wore that yesterday. You know, I wore that last week, and there's pictures of people are going to think I don't have new clothes. You know, and so it literally became a full-time job styling me, which actually led to some other work for her from other influencers who are like, who's your stylist? My wife. Really? What's that? I said, yeah. So they Venmo her some money, tell her what they want, and she's done it for a bunch of people.
So which is the guy that you went smoking with or met and got real stoned with, and that guy just is an animal at smoking that you wouldn't believe?
Me.
I can see that.
No, I'll tell you this, okay? I mean, in my life, whenever I've been around smoking and whatever, circles, I'm always the last one with the joint. I'm always the last one with the bong. And that's just, and I was the same way with alcohol. I don't drink. 2 years I don't drink anymore. Thank God.
Yeah.
But I have that addictive deal going anyway. And, but you know, but that's what I need. Ever since I stopped drinking too, my increase in cannabis was like tenfold just because I'm high strung.
So where can people find you guys across social media? Talk to us everywhere.
BOT_brothers_@_law on Instagram. That's our main social media platform. We also, my brother's got his own personal one at @waslaw_dog. I've got mine at @waslaw. And then we're on TikTok, Pop Brothers at Law, with the same underscores, and LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook, Pop Brothers at Law YouTube channel. It's everywhere. We have if you want, you know, stickers, hats, shirts. We have merchandise that you could actually, we have the script in a blanket and a bedding, so you could wrap yourselves in your rights and sleep with it. P-Ball merch, PBAL merch.com. You can go get it.
And I'm blown away that I'm on the email string when, you know, someone buys something and people are buying it.
That's right.
Well, hey, all these things are people told us. They told us a couple of years ago, you know, you guys should have merchandise. You guys should put this on this and that. We're like, our page isn't for selling shit. You know, that's not what we're about. But we got so much. You should have these pins, and you should have the, you know, stickers and this hat. So we pballmerch.com now.
Well,
and then we just launched for Christmas time, and I believe the sale is still going. If you put in the code "Shut the Fuck Up," you've got Pop Brothers at Law CBD.
That's the one thing I know. Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up and use CBD for, you know, if you have pains. We have creams and gummies and all that stuff.
Did we met you on Cannabis 101?
I'm getting there.
Yeah. It takes them a little while.
Whole line of things I got to get through.
Thank you. It takes them a little while.
Shut the
Pop
fuck
Brothers
up.
at Law, CBD.com. And check out our Instagram page every Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. And we'll have you guys come in as guests. We bring in other social media influencers on Fridays for our Shut the Fuck Up Friday script challenge, where we bring listeners and followers in live with either me or my brother. We're the cop, you are the driver, and we're pulling you over. And if you get the script right from beginning to end in order perfectly, then we have sponsors. Some sponsors, we have $100 top prize. We have, you know, cool pins like this and a bunch of other shit that we give away. And we do that every Friday to reinforce and help people learn the script. And then you can catch us every day on Cannabis Talk 101 on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. Download it. Catch me, my brother, Blue, and Joe Grande. We go at it.
Don't mention Joe.
What?
Don't mention Joe.
I feel the same way. About Joe Grande.
Well, hey, I let everybody else bash Joe, so that's not a problem. But we drop episodes every day, new episodes Monday through Friday. Cannabis Talk 101. You can check that out. And if you want to reach us, 855-WASLAW, WASSLAW. Now, we are attorneys who only practice in California, all over California. But if you have a matter in another state, we have a wide-reaching network of attorneys that we could potentially refer, and we have referred depending on where it's at and what's happening. Even in other countries, we have counsel that we've maintained relationships with through the wonders of social media. So we might be able to help you. Feel free to give us a call, and you can check out our main website, popbrothersatlaw.com. And I think that's all the information. I will say one last thing. If you want me to, it takes about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Gotta
And
go.
Do it.
Mark, come on.
He's gonna log off. But
Let's
hey,
do
if
it.
they don't want to hear it, they can
No,
tell
no,
me.
let's do it. No,
Let's do it.
I won't do it. I won't do
I'll
it.
stay here.
No, we want you to do it.
Joe would give me shit if I didn't say this right now. Joe
Yeah.
would give me shit if I didn't say, do you want me to give you the slam poem that's based on the script and your rights, something that I've performed on stage at concerts in front of musical artists and doing conventions and events. It's a slam poem about your rights called Am I Being Detained or Am I Free to Go? My brother hates it. He thinks it's stupid. And everybody else in the world seems to love it. But you tell me, if you don't want to hear it, we can go. Or
We want to hear
You
it.
want to hear it, brother?
Are you going to stick around, big brother? You signing off?
Absolutely. I'll stick around.
All right.
I may have to go in the middle of it, though. I got to get ready for something.
You do what you got to do. You do you, big brother.
I pretty much
All
do.
right. This is called Am I Being Detained or Am I Free to Go? A slam poem by the Pop Brothers at Law. Am I being detained or am I free to go? This is what to say. My lawyer tells me so. The cops are out there doing a job. Sometimes they must contain a mob, a thankless job that saves many lives. At their home are worried children, husbands, and wives. But does that give them the right to stomp on my rights? So we are here for you, the cannabis community, to fight, to let you know it's okay to just shut the fuck up when cops ask questions. You start with, I'm not discussing my day, end with, I invoke the fifth. These ain't suggestions. These are words to live by, to memorize. See, it's not about the size of that cop's gun, because they want you to run, so they could pull that macho gun and shoot you for fleeing the scene. Some cops are just plain mean. We must shut it off, shut it down. Those feelings of anger that instantly come around when that cop has to show his power and his might without cause, without reason, and we know they're not right. We must remain calm, keep the devil sleeping on the left shoulder. We must be cold, even colder. Ice must flow through your veins to shut that heat, the blood that rushed your brain straight from your feet when that cop disrespected you, cause you wouldn't tell him what that smell was. And he accuses you of a pot DUI because he absolutely knows that you're buzzed. But see, they can't tell and they don't know. Only if you tell them so. Oh, officer, I smoked a joint a few hours ago. Officer, here's my medical rec. Officer, I'm a marijuana patient. We live in America. Prohibition still exists. That cop's going to do whatever he's going to do. 50-50, he arrests you. Give us a chance to represent you with a defense that's blazing. Let us show you in court we're amazing, but we can only do that if you listen to our tips. Now let me see you move your lips. You know the drill. When the cops ask questions, we say, I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I invoke the fifth, and then you, what, guys? What do you do?
Shut the fuck up!
It's all about what you say and what you do. We have given you the script. We are telling you what to say. We are telling you what to do. We put your hands up in protection mode. But should you take a shot to the jaw, we will be here fighting for the cannabis community because we are the Pop Brothers at Law.